Hey guys, it's Elam. I want to share a story that I told my friend once, and it said he told me he got goosebumps from it. And it was we were living together in sober living, and he came up to me one night in the kitchen when it was just the two of us, and he said, you know, he said he was intrigued by how sure I was about God and myself and my purpose. And he didn't know what his purpose was. And he had a lot of doubt, self-doubt, and doubt of God and self. And God is within the self, in a sense. But so, he was genuinely curious. And it's like very rare that I have these moments. And I said, like the metaphor I gave, I'll just get right into it. And then I'll provide more context of the situation. But I was like, he's like, well, what if how do you respond so stoically or sternly or, when other people have differing opinions, or when someone raises a doubt, or when something happens, like how do you stay true or something? Forget the exact question, but my answer was a metaphor, and I said, imagine you're Spiderman. You're Peter Parker, and you have a secret identity as Spiderman, and you go through your life and you get fired from your pizza delivery job because you're late, because you were busy being Spider-Man and saving people, and you can't pay your rent, and people think you're a failure, and all this negativity surrounds you, but you yourself know that you're Spider-Man. And I said something like, self-esteem comes from esteemable acts. And when you were Spider-Man all day, and you went into the burning building, and you got cut by the knives of the Green Goblin's grenades, and you saved the cat and the people, when you get home at the end of the day to your crummy apartment and your door that doesn't close, you know the truth. Doesn't matter that your landlord thinks you're late on rent, or says that you are, and thinks you're a slob or a slacker. Doesn't matter. You're Spider-Man. So if you are doing what you believe is the right thing to do, other people's opinions of you do not affect your opinion of yourself. As long as you know that there are things that you do that they don't understand or appreciate. And the Bible says your Father sees what is done in secret. And who is your Father but your internal conscience? God within us. So, I've been with Jesus in this boat, and I'm gonna jump out of the boat and dive into the depths where you are. And if I need help, Jesus will save me. But I can't be in the Jesus boat because some people don't think that that's a rational place to be. And I was trying to think all day of like examples of where I'm Spiderman. And I have a few, but they're not very compelling, I'll admit. But I use the web, the World Wide Web, to ensnare the real enemies. And I'm doing the real work. I'm not a fictional character. But Terance McKenna, he said, if you're not the hero of your novel, what kind of novel are you writing? In other words, what kind of life are you living if you're not the hero of your own story? If your perception of the world isn't centered around you being an active protagonist, the main character that will make an impact or learn something or do something great, then what are you doing other than being a victim? Because you're gonna find out sooner or later that this control structure here deserves to be healed and is out to get you, essentially. But I welcome it. And I just watched the documentary AlphaGo, where the computer beats Lisa Dahl, the world champion Go player. And Lisa Dahl, it's a match best out of 5. And Lisa Dahl loses the first 3 games. And he was kind of trying to test it out in different ways. And then once the match was over and he knew he couldn't win, it was just about winning one game, just giving it, sometimes you're playing, like I can relate to that, like you're playing a chess player who's just better than you. You've tried everything and you can't beat them. And then you think to yourself, I'm just going to give it one more go and just play my game. I'm not going to try to worry about who I'm playing. I'm just going to play the best I can possibly play. And if I win, great. If not, doesn't matter. My goal is just to play my best. And that's what he did in game 4. And he actually won. And I think it's the crowning achievement of the human brain, to be honest with you, in terms of one individual. But for example, there's 2 famous moves. There's move 37, I think, in game 2 that the computer played, 37 or 38, that shocked everyone. And AlphaGo went on to win. And then in the game 4, it was move 74 or 78, where Lee Sedol played a move that AlphaGo did not predict in its tree search, and AlphaGo ended up losing the game because of this move, throwing it off, and it miscalculating and hallucinating that it was winning, and it was maximizing its probability of winning because the probability system was based upon moves that your opponent would probably play. But the move that Lee Sedol played was so good that AlphaGo calculated it as, instead of the strength of the move, it calculates the probability of the move based on human data, and the probability of that move being played in that type of a position was 1 in 10,000. And after the game, when Lee Sedol won, they asked him about the move, and he said it was the only move. So he calculated correctly that the only way to beat the machine was to play a move that no other person would ever have the balls to play, essentially. And it worked. So a couple other things. I was gonna make a slideshow about this, but I guess it'll just be a night walk video. But in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Rocket, the raccoon, the bad guy is called the High Evolutionary, and he is the one who bred Rocket and created Rocket. You learn about Rocket's past, the raccoon humanoid, and he basically loses the raccoon. The raccoon escapes, but not before displaying its intelligence in a way that surprised its designer. So the High Evolutionary created a thing that created an idea that was novel to the High Evolutionary. So the High Evolutionary was fascinated, like, bring me P137, and they're like, why is he so important? And at one point he yells out the theme of the movie, basically, which is that he's the only thing that he had ever seen that had the creative ability to come up with something that no other human had come up with before, like Lee Sedol's move. There's something magical about human creativity where it can beat even the machine, because it's a new idea. And machines are just old ideas synthesizing. But it reminded me of my Book of Elam, telling the world I am Elam, and comparing that to Neo in the Matrix, telling Agent Smith, no, my name is Neo. And sure enough, the ending fight scene of Guardians 3, the High Evolutionary and the Rocket have a battle, and the High Evolutionary is constantly calling him P137, P137, or whatever number he is. And Rocket says, no, I'm not P137, I'm Rocket Raccoon, and then blows him up, essentially. And this is a recurring theme because the writers are trying to guide us. They're trying to show you that you need to say who you are. Like Guy Ritchie, I just watched his new movie, The Covenant, which was good, and I watched an old clip of him on Joe Rogan, and he said every story is about one thing, which is the character, the human's conflict between the world telling the character who he is, and then the character telling the world who he is, and like this interplay. And that's what Elam's all about. It's just me saying to the High Evolutionary, I'm not P137. I'm not my social security number. My name is Neo. You know what I mean? My name is Elam. And I am writing the story of my life by living it. And I've already decided the ending, essentially. And, Rocky, at the end of Rocky 1, he loses the fight, but the journey was still worth it. And I've already calculated it down to win or lose. I still won, essentially. Like, I have a plan. Anyway, one of the promises I made in the Book of Elam was that I was going to help you become